Well, all right. I completed Reacher Season 2. And I guess putting it up against the previous season, I still think the previous season is probably the better one. But it's a difficult call in that the seasons have their own takes on it. They're very different, which would be appropriate. You don't want to keep doing the same thing. Even though here, revenge is the main driving force, as it was in the previous one where it was Reacher's brother, and all that. And here, well, you get another backstory of Reacher in his early days in the military, where he formed his special team, the Special Investigators. Because they're special and they investigate things, but anyway, and members of it are one in particular has met with foul play, and then there's seeming evidence that proves maybe he was corrupted as well, and all of this stuff, and he reunites with some of the members. Neely returns, having been one of them, and he gets it on with this hot chick. But because he's a very disciplined man, he didn't go anywhere near that, even though he wanted to back in the old days, because, well, he was her boss. But then, as she reminded him, you're not the boss anymore. So there you go, have at it and all that, But did they fly away together and settle down and all that? No. Because, well, the series is over if they do that. But anyway, so the rest of it, the main force of it is how fun the show is, the adventure, the violence, and really disgusting, rotten people getting what they deserve. And Reacher delivers on all of that. And we don't get long-winded explorations of his pansexuality and all that. There's no pan. Or perhaps some feelings that he might have been born in the wrong body or something along those lines. No, there's none of that. There's no political messages of certain mindsets or philosophies or whatever are akin to tyranny and absolute evil. No, not really. Just corruption in and of itself plays a role here, which anyone with half a brain can agree with and whatnot. And this makes for good material for villains. All the while, there was this one guy who was being set up as being the real big bad of the story. And so as it goes, you keep seeing this guy, and he's the root of it all, in the sense of these corrupt former police officers are running this organization that's going to sell these deadly weapons to this weapons merchant guy who was going to sell them off to terrorist organizations overseas and all this. So that's basically the setup of what the ultimate crime will be. And this guy, you see him just going all over the place, swapping out identities, killing people to take their identities as he moves along for his ultimate meetup with the bad guys to make the sale. And he seems unstoppable, so you're thinking, oh man, there's going to be this big confrontation between him and Reacher. And it's interesting that there is a big confrontation between the corrupt former police officers and this whole thing that happens with the team and all that. But when it's all over, the real bad guy shows up, and he's in the midst of doing his villain speech, and Reacher just blows him away. The whole team blows him away too after he shoots him, and the guy's like, "What?" And it works. I mean, it's kind of... he's like, no, you're nothing. You're a piece of crap. And there he is on the floor. The end. So, it just, a lot of times you would think, hey, I'm being led to this outcome, but the way it's played out, it works perfectly fine. and is actually quite satisfying because there was nothing really. I mean, the guy's played off like he's this charming, debonair character or whatnot, and that sort of thing. But at the same time, everything he does is just absolute evil, and so it's very satisfying to see him taken down in such a quick and humiliating fashion. This is how it ends for you. The rest of it, the interaction between the team is fine. And I suspect, I mean, I haven't read the books and all that, but that some of them will pop up again in future episodes, I would assume. And there's, you know, touching things that the thing about Reacher is he rarely shows actual emotion here and there, but there's moments there that the ones who understand him know it enough that you know, it's a demonstration of how much he cares about these people and all that. And you know, with his family all gone, his actual family, these people are what he's got left, and all that. But anyway, all around very well done. And again, and maybe it's just because it was my first real overall exposure to the concepts and performance of Reacher and everything, that the first season is always going to stand tall for me. This one, in some elements, seemed to lag a bit, but it was, I don't know how else you do it in order to get it all together, that there's some of this mystery going on and that sort of thing for the rest of them to do. And getting to know how the team functions and whatnot. There were some things where there's fight scenes that, here we go with, you know, the supermodels taking on people who outweigh them, and in some cases have superior firepower and whatnot. I would have reshot that in a way that's more credible, that they got the drop on these guys some other way, and that sort of thing. There's brief moments of it. But in the overall history of this thing constantly being thrown about, it's nowhere near that as some of the other, you know, adventure shows and whatnot and movies that do this and go out of their way to do it, to tell toothpick-limbed supermodels, sure, they can take on an MMA fighter or a Navy SEAL. It's like, no, it's not going to work that way. Even though his main girlfriend, the really hot one, gets captured and becomes a damsel in distress almost. So does one of the other guys, you know. Ultimately, she does, in a spectacular stunt they do at the end, you know, ends up saving herself somewhat with Reacher helping her. But there you go. See, that wouldn't be allowed in the woke era at all. But anyway, all in all, really good. Enjoyed it, and it was easily the best show. Well, I guess let's hope it's not the best show of this year, because One Piece is pretty damn good. That really took me by surprise. The Reacher is quite the contender, and it again comes across as a bit of an anomaly in the current era, but could also be just another sign that the woke era has come to an end, but there's, you know, still leftovers to have to dig through on the way out, and you need more shows like these, and oddly enough, still, that it was on Amazon Prime, because that's the one that destroyed the potential for a great Conan the Barbarian series in exchange for a feminist remake, a redo, rewriting, what have you, of Wheel of Time, and then Rings of Power, which still has no hope whatsoever, apparently. That sort of thing. And yet this thing slipped through, and that's probably what happened. It just was ignored. Which is a good thing for it. And hopefully it continues to be left alone, as it will undoubtedly make money for them. See? That's how you do that. Anyway, Reacher Season 2, highly recommended. A lot of fun. And if you haven't checked out Reacher yet, you're in for a treat with both seasons of Reacher.